We are running in the Enterprise Agility University, guys, we are running the Agile Diversity Index. The Agile Diversity Index is the biggest research on agile companies, specifically gender diversity. So if you go there, then you can just choose your language and run you just fill in the form. The survey takes like 5 minutes, and then you can get my book and other things with the discounted price. In a month and a half, we are going to release the information, and we're trying to see how diverse companies are, specifically agile companies, because we need that for flexibility, and we're going to see how. So just remember, if you want, you can also please share it with your network, and that's going to be great. You're going to help a lot. We're going to put all this information available for leaders for free. So we're happening in different countries. So we're trying to get information from all the countries around the world. Let's start with something very basic. So today I'm going to talk about enterprise agility, but also going to talk about change in companies. Some people call it change management, how you accelerate change. And the landscape in organizations sometimes is, let's say, a little bit complex, because, for example, we have a guy here, maybe a lady, a girl, they want to change, and then you have someone who does not want to change, and then this person who wants to change is in a team that do not want to change, and the person who do not want to change is in a team that they want to change, and then maybe they have a whole team that has high resistance to change, and then they have the managers trying to do their best, then you have contractors in the company, maybe you have teams that they produce software, but you have teams that do not produce software. And that can be a challenge, as many of the frameworks are for software, or maybe you can expand them, but sometimes it becomes a little bit complex. And then somehow, somewhere, you have also strategic partners. That it happened to me. I went to a company, and the company said, we are very agile, but most of the company, they have contractors, and they belong to a company which was not agile at all. So how you deal with this, how you can make sure that things are working fine. And then we have somewhere the customers, somewhere around there, we have the clients. And the problem is how we deal with this, how we make sure, and there are three things we want to achieve. And this is what I try to teach you today. And I'm very glad that Irina and Sridhar are here as going to be trying to help with the teams. The idea is that you can accelerate change in the organization. We have a lot of research in terms of the brain, how the brain works. And this is something very interesting. When I started writing my book a few years ago, I realized that there are not many books that, or at least at that time, that explains what happened during change, agile change in an organization, in the brain. And this is very important to know. And we have a lot of research. We need to make sure that we understand how or what's happening in the brain in order to choose the best techniques and the best practices. And this is key to try to understand. So first of all, during this conversation, maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but that's the way it is. I'm going to use the term conservative agile. Conservative agile is, and I have nothing against agile, just to be clear, it's just to make sure everyone is on the same page. When we have the techniques that you generally got those ideas from the Agile Manifesto, and then you try to expand agility to the rest of the company with those ideas, I call it conservative agile. It's not because I have anything against agile, just because we put a name. Now, what happened with the conservative agile, that there are some concepts that are missing. Some, for example, like we have some concepts that are coming from neuroscience of change, where we know what's happening in the brain. We have some concept maybe coming, very advanced concepts coming from organizational change, the psychology of organizational change. And we have techniques that we use to call reframing, for example, to try to make sure we increase what we call mental agility in people, etc. And this is not contemplated into Agile. So the main issue with the agility, that is very good, but there are a couple of parts that are missing. For example, exponentiality. How do I deal with markets that are not changing maybe once a week? They are maybe changing by the hour. And how I can make sure that I can adapt the strategy of the company in record time. When I say that, I also want to say aligning people. So imagine a company that things are changing all the time. How do I make sure that people are aligned? How do I make sure that people feel comfortable with change? How I make sure that people are still motivated? And I'm so sorry to tell you this, but the techniques we use are slightly different, are not the same. And today I want to try to bring some light into this. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and hopefully it's going to be fine. So here we have the value stream. Okay, so imagine that you want to produce some products. Then you have all these different kind of people, and then you need to produce something. So the first difference when we are talking about enterprise agility is that we want to expand agility to the whole organization, not just IT or department that are close by. We need to make sure that we expand all these ideas. How we do that? Well, we have a problem here. The first problem we have is that maybe we have one guy like this one, Carla, that Carla is from the marketing department, right? And she is quite conservative. And then we have this guy here on the same value stream, on the same team, that is Eduardo. Eduardo has been working for at least 40 years, and maybe what is sharing information or what is working in pairs for him is going to be hard. And then maybe we have this girl here, Tina. Tina is a software developer. She knows very well what she wants. She tried to experiment all the time. And maybe compared to Eduardo does not like to work in pairs. The concept of visibility is different. Maybe for Xing, this other guy, he came from China, and then he has been working in the UK for a long time, and he's very flexible. So what happened is, when we start working in or trying to expand agility, we have to accept two things. The first one is we need diversity, or we have value streams where there is high diversity, which I say with this is that maybe you have 3 software developers, but maybe you have a lawyer, maybe you have someone from marketing, maybe you have someone from the financial area, and all of these guys need to work together. Now, we know many things. The first thing we know is that people that study different things, and then maybe happen to you, they have different conceptions about what visibility is, about their mental models, etc. For example, for a lawyer, maybe in this value stream we have a lawyer, maybe visibility is just at the very end of a certain period of time to be able to see documents. Maybe visibility for a software developer is to know what's happening in the processes. Maybe for another person means something different. So what happens is there is a very strong influence of what you study at university or in school or in college and the way you think, and what we call the mental models. Now, the problem is, for example, you give a problem to a couple of lawyers, and then you give the same problem to software developers and marketing people. And then maybe it doesn't mean that all of them, the marketing people, think in the same way, but they're going to use the same mental model to solve it. And you can plus minus guess what they're going to do. So the issue first where we have in enterprise agility is that we start having value streams where we have completely different people from different backgrounds. How do we make all these people work together? That's the first question. The second question is how we do with resistance and conflict. When this guy have a conflict, how they solve it. And as a change consultant, as an agile coach, as a scrum master, you need to make sure you understand first. Today, we're not going to go too deep into the brain, how the brain works, but I will try to show you some techniques. And Sridhar and Irina is going to be helping you guys and the teams to make sure we understand how it works. So imagine that something happened in the market, and then all these guys, suddenly there is a market disruption. Something changed completely. So what you need to do here is you need to do 3 things. The first thing is that you need to realign the strategy of the company. Maybe you were walking in that direction and something changed, and then you need to go in a different direction. Okay? And this is what we call outcomes agility. Outcomes agility is the possibility for you to change what you were doing, your strategy in record time. So you need to be able to use techniques that allow you to change your strategy in record time. And this is very, very important. Now, when we're talking about agility, unfortunately, there are some techniques, but none of them are focused on doing this because they are not prepared for exponentiality. Then the second thing we have here is that maybe you need to change the leadership style, and you need to use a different leadership style. Then you need to change the budgeting. Maybe you were thinking for the next 6 months, and then now it's for the next 2 weeks. And finally, we need to make sure that we can realign people in the company. So maybe we realign the tools, maybe we realign so many things, but we need to realign people. And when we say realign people, realigning means that they feel comfortable with change. There are certain areas of the brain that activate when you are under situations that make you feel stressed. Um, and how we deal with this situation, how we make sure that people can get used to this situation of changing all the times. Unfortunately, human beings are not psychologically or physiologically prepared for as many changes as we want. And then we need to use tricks, and we need to use new techniques. So these three things here are very, very important. And we need to make sure that the structure we use are flexible enough in order to provide a solution, as all the components are different. I cannot provide you with a strict framework because maybe the situations are different, people are different, the teams in some companies are more diverse, in other companies are not, and this is important, right? So today I will introduce some of the favorite tools. Irina loves this, Frida also like it, but Frida likes another tool more than this one, which is the pyramid of change, or the change journey pyramid. This pyramid is a pyramid I developed, and it's based on organizational psychology and neuroscience of change. When I say neuroscience of change, I'm not talking about bullshit of the brain or something, some theory. I'm coming about it was called neurobiology before, which is study what happened in the brain. And then we study what happened in the brain, and we try to understand where we are and what happened with these people. So by studying this, and also by studying other frameworks, change frameworks, some of them have already some ideas, other ones do not. I was trying to integrate this one into a framework that can help any consultant, I hope, around the world. So in fact, between the first edition and the second edition of the book, I traveled around the world and tried to see how this framework helped people. And that was very interesting. And what you can realize is obviously that people are people everywhere, right? 4 out of 4 people are human beings. This is something very important to understand. And this pyramid is easy to understand, and I hope after this conversation, and you're gonna do some dynamic, you are able to start using it from tomorrow. So the pyramid starts basically with some very deep concepts, but the ideas are easy to understand. To master is a little bit harder, but it takes a few weeks, but then you're gonna be comfortable with this. The second thing is about how the pyramid works. So you have 5 different mindsets in the pyramid. The closer you are to the top, the easier it is for you to change, or for this person to embrace change. Now, these 5 mindsets, there are no good or bad mindsets. All the mindsets are fine. We are okay with all the mindsets. And I think this is the first step for you in this career of change management, to understand that at the end of the day, what you want is to maximize your influence in the company. Okay, so there are no good or bad mindset. We have 5. We have one at the bottom, then the second, third one, fourth one, and the fifth one at the top. And each mindset has a completely different, or you're going to use different techniques. Now, how do you know where people are in which part of the pyramid? Well, this is an educated guess. You don't know, but you're going to try to learn about body language, about the way that the person expresses, the specific words the person uses, and then plus minus you're going to know, and everything is an experiment. If you believe that the person is at the bottom, you're going to try with some techniques. If it doesn't work, maybe the person is not there. And if you read my book, in chapter number 8, I developed the ELSA change framework, which is based on also neuroscience, how we use language, and we have a lot of research in order to change behaviors in companies. And this is also part of trying to identify it. But let's make it very easy. Let's start with the guy at the bottom. And the guy at the bottom is someone who says, I want things to be as I say, I don't care about you. Okay, so this person here, and maybe you can start visualizing someone that says something like this in the company, and you see there is a ghost on the right-hand side. So at this level of the pyramid is where the person has very high activation of an area of the brain called the amygdala, which releases certain hormones into the brain. But at the end of the day, this person has a lot of fear of losing prestige, mainly, fear of losing the position in the company, fear of not being treated equally. And many times, this person has conscious and subconscious fears about losing something. Okay. Now, the problem with this person at the very bottom is first, the person does not know that that is happening to him. And this is very important. Many times, sometimes they know. And they are very irrational. Also, there is something very important with this person. This person does not have the capacity to see the sponsor of the initiative as someone different than the initiative. For example, let's call this person at the bottom Peter. So Peter is going to say, if the change, he does not like the change because it's affecting his prestige or status in the organization, the change is bad and Peter is a bad person. So he cannot discriminate between these two people. Okay? And this is very important, this level, because in this level here, we try to reinforce certain things in the company. For example, if you are a leader, you say, okay, listen, you are not going to lose the position. We're going to reinforce your position here. We're going to make sure you gain more prestige. We're going to support you with processes that are going to make sure that you feel okay. And this level is not about knowledge. So even if you teach a framework like Scrum, or you try to show information saying, no, this changes because of this, we want to make some money next year or whatever, that's not going to work with this guy. So the way is making sure he feels safe. Then imagine that this person feels safe, and then we move to the second level. The second level, the person says something like, I don't like the proposed change. When I say this, do not just imagine these words. Maybe in other companies, they speak in a different way, they use different words, but the message is similar, and the body posture is similar. So the person at the second level, I don't like the proposed change, is someone that feels that has not been heard with the change. So imagine someone, for example, arriving to the company trying to propose a change, and then you look at this guy and say, "What the hell this guy is doing here?" He didn't even ask me. He didn't even consider myself. So this guy is gonna make more things more complicated, my life more complicated. I'm the manager here, and the people below me. This is gonna be complex. Imagine one day you come and said, "Let's implement a Scrum in an area." And maybe this guy had already a lot of complexity, everything is too complicated, and then you're telling these guys. So this guy probably is gonna tell you, listen, why don't you listen to me first? I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know what's happening here. I don't really like this proposed change. So how you move this person to the next level? Remember, the higher up we are, the easier it is for this person to embrace change. Okay? So I hope we are okay with the concept so far. So at this level here, I don't like the proposed change. It's about integrating the person into the change, giving them a voice. For example, if you're going to change a process and this process affects that person, then what's going to happen is we need to make sure that we ask this person, hey, we're going to change this process. What do you think? And we take at least certain feedback or integrate this person into the change of these processes. So this is what you can see. There is a ear there and it's crossed. It's mainly you don't hear this person feels that you left it behind and you didn't pay attention to him. Okay. Now amygdala activation here. This is part of the brain. It's a little bit lower than the previous one. It's not that bad. This person at least is a little bit open to listen. Not very much, but is in there in the middle. Okay, it's not like the person at the bottom. And at this level, there are no many conscious or subconscious fears. This person understands what's happening. Then imagine that this person knows that he is not losing the job, and then you talk to him, you got some ideas on board from this guy. This guy feels part of the initiative. In general, what happens is this person is going to move to the next level, which is I do not understand why the change is happening. And in here, if you can see, there are some books, little books here. And this is the level that most companies focus on. And here, guys, is more about teaching new skills. So, for example, the person does not have the skills to do the job. Okay, let's send it to a course. The person does not have the skill to understand why things are changing. Okay, sit with the person and explain it. Explain the strategy. So at this level, there are two things that are happening. The person do not have the skills to do the job or does not have the skills to understand the change. It's all about information here. And here, the activation of this part of the brain, the amygdala, is very low. But what is important in here is that this person starts seeing the person proposing the change and the change as different things. He can discriminate between these two. You remember at the very bottom, the person sees like everything together. Now, like the same bag is all bad. The guy who proposed the thing is bad. I'm bad. This guy is bad. Everyone is bad in this organization. Well, this guy here, as long as they get the skills, then they can move forward. Okay. So imagine that the guy is here in at this level of the pyramid, and then suddenly they say, "Yes, let's move. I want to embrace change. I want to go in that direction. I'm very happy. This is great. Life is good. I came from my Scrum course. I came from my course of Safe, whatever." And then came to the company, to the team, and then the team is looking at him and saying, "We are not going anywhere. We don't like this." So what happened here is the fourth level is the social dynamics. So and here is I don't understand why we must change. And this is basically focused on the team dynamics. So at the team dynamics, you need to have maybe a vision, a mission. The team has to be healthy. They have to have working agreement. They have to have healthy dynamics to solve, for example, to solve conflict. It's all about the team. You came to the team, and the team maybe is a disaster, so you cannot change. So in here, the leadership or consultant, they focus at improving the social dynamics. Now, what happened with this social dynamic work? Well, so let's start from the bottom. The guy knows that he's not going to lose the job. We heard the suggestion and we took some suggestions on board. Then we send this person to a course, or we explain to that person what's happening. And then finally, we try to provide the team where this person is working with the right techniques. So what happening here is that the person is ready to change. The person is saying, I want to change. And this is the fifth mindset. Now, the thing is, in order to sustain it, and this is why it's outside the pyramid, it's like sustaining it, it's like what is in balance, you need to keep the other ones, they need to be constantly, you need to be supporting all of this. Does it make sense, guys? Give me a thumb if it makes sense, if you're okay so far. Yes? Okay, so what happened here is that if you take a look at the pyramid moved from the intrapersonal, from inside, from what I feel, my conscious fears, subconscious fears, etc., that maybe I don't tell anyone, but they are there, which is the very bottom of the pyramid, to the interpersonal, how I communicate with others. Hey, I don't like this. You are bringing me things that are very complex here, and you don't listen to me. To the third part, which is the collective or the social dynamics. So what we do with it, why the pyramid is very important for any change consultant or any agile coach? Because first of all, I want you to start thinking of people where you were trying to help embrace change and try to visualize that person where it's in the journey in the pyramid. Let's start with something very simple. Visualize it. Okay, and then I tell you more things about this pyramid. So then if you plus minus know where this person is, then you can know which techniques to use. So if the person is at the very bottom, you're not going to send this person for a course, because unless you solve the conscious and subconscious fears of this person, you are lost. This person is not going to move in any direction unless you just take a rope and start hitting the guy with the rope or with the stick, right? And this is very important. So what I generally do when I go to companies is I teach this framework to consultants, and then I ask them to write different techniques in different levels and try to imagine where people are. Now, when we know where people are, it's just an educated guess, but they work quite well because, when we take a look at people, literally our brain make a lot of conclusions. The way the other person moves. In fact, our eyes can look at what we call micro gestures. The micro gestures are around 2,000 per minute, and then our brain is trying to see what's happening. Even if the other person has saying certain words, our brain is very clever and know what's happening. So it's what we call intuition. That intuition at the end of the day is your brain working and trying to detect what's happening. So many times we know very well where the people are, or could be a group of people, right? Now, something important to have in mind here is when we talk about social dynamics at the top, we also have a political agreement. For example, two managers from the organization, they decided that they do not want to move in certain direction, in the direction you're proposing. So it's something social. You need to solve that using social dynamic, maybe increasing visibility and helping this guy move in other direction. So the pyramid can work everywhere in the organization. And this is the first thing we need to understand. When we have teams that we have different professions in a team, if we do not understand where the person is in the journey, then it's very difficult for them to work together. And companies, in order to be flexible and adaptable to change, they need to have diversity, because diversity means more innovation, different points of view in the same team. But also we need to know where people are in terms of the change. There are some other things that are more advanced. I'm not going to discuss now, which is what we call the communication plans. When we work with the CEO of the company and we try to explain the CEO of the company, okay, listen, if you need to talk to these people at the top, talk about dynamics, social dynamic. Guys, I have a great vision for you and I want to go in that direction. If you want to people at the bottom, say, I'm sure you're going to be here forever, 10 years. You're going to be safe in this company. So we work with the people, the communication plans, and specifically CEOs and other people in the company. And depending where they are in the pyramid, we work in this way. Okay, we work with different techniques. We are not going to do that today, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing this. So we have two people today, which is Sridhar, that's going to be trainer at our university, and also Irina. And let me check how many we have today.
28 people.
How many?
28.
Okay, so we're going to try to do this. We're going to use a mural, and in the mural, we have this pyramid. Okay, this is just, I will share my screen with you in 1 second. So we're going to have a mural where we have this pyramid. Now, the idea is that everyone is going to have a team. And then with this team, I want you guys first to go at the very bottom of the pyramid, okay, and imagine one person. Imagine I say, I have one person who is at the very bottom of the pyramid. He's very afraid of the losing losing his job or her job or position in the company. Which techniques I can use with this person? Okay. Eventually, we can do we can do it without. If you prefer, you prefer to use. Tell me, what do you prefer? You prefer to use mural, or you want to do it verbally with pen and paper? So we're gonna try to draw the pyramid and make sure we write at least 2 or 3 techniques per level of the pyramid that we could use with this with type of people. Okay, so for example, if we are with the guy at the very bottom, that the guy is afraid of losing prestige or power, we're gonna try to use it with this guy at the very bottom, certain techniques, and we're gonna note it down. So do you want to use a mural, or you want to use pen and paper, and you draw the pyramid, and then between the team you use pen and paper? You want to be more classic or less classic? What do you prefer today? Write in the chat, let us know, and then we decide, guys, what we do with you.
Anyone who is not comfortable with mural, please say. I think that is a better way to go ahead.
If we can use mural or paper, it's up to you.
Pen and paper. Okay, Alexandra prefers pen and paper. All
Yes.
right. Anyone else who prefers pen and paper? Okay, I think we are good with the mural.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
then pen and paper.
only Alexandra. So probably one of us can be there to help her out to figure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Before going to the dynamic, the first thing I wanted to ask you guys is if you can tell me, first of all, uh, questions about the pyramid, something you didn't not understand. Let me go back in the screen. So I put the pyramid here. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. Can you see that on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so any question you have about the pyramid, anything you wanted to know?
Yes, I have. I'm a little bit confused between the last two ones. I don't understand why the change is happening, and I don't understand why we must change.
Oh,
Am
okay.
I right?
This is a great question because they ask me this question everywhere in the world. So this is good because you have the same question of everyone. So basically, I don't understand why the change is happening if you have one person. Okay, it's me, Eric, trying to understand why the change is happening. Now, if we go to this following level, I don't understand why we must change. Then it is about the team. It's a whole team trying to see what's happening. Okay, so one is about person, and the other one is about team. Sridhar, do you have any explanation you want to add, or Irina?
I think I need more clarification.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Let me try that out. Hashem, I appreciate that confusion. See, when we are moving ahead, once the stage two is completed, which is my opinion has been asked. I feel involved. Previously, I was not involved. Now there are two challenges. First of all, I don't know what to do to adapt to this change. I don't know how to adapt to this change. First of all, I don't have the necessary skills there. Correct. So obviously, it is very difficult for me to say I don't know how to do. I don't have the skill because then I am surrendering or my self image is coming down. So how do I revert or react to that situation? I'll say I don't know why this change is happening. Correct. The internal conversation is different. I am worried. I am scared because I don't know how
So
to handle.
it's like a defense situation. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Got
Exactly.
it. Got
Correct.
it.
Then now I am skilled. But if you look at the team, the skill levels will always vary. Even if you put them all through the same training program, the assimilation levels are different. Then how the team will react to this change? So I don't know. Yeah, I understand we have gone through a training, but why the hell are we doing this? This is where the vision and mission will come into play. Oh, okay, this is why we are doing this. This is where we are going to go there. At this level, I already am kind of familiar with the techniques that are required. I have the skills. I may not be mastering on the master about the skills, but at least I'm comfortable. I'm willing to now do that. But now I need the direction. The moment I got the direction, I'll go to the final stage. That is, yes, I want to change.
Yeah, I
It,
got it. Thank
correct.
you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
At each level, guys, we have different internal conversations which are exhibited as external barriers or statements. Thank you.
thank you, Sridhar. Any other question, guys, about the pyramid? No? Okay, let's do this because somehow the mural is not working today. It's completely stuck. And let's use pen and paper, plan A. So we go for plan A. And then what we're gonna do is, Irina, are you there? Are you around here? Or you left?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so we're gonna try to have Manuel. How many people do we have?
We have, excluding 3 of us, 26.
26 people. Okay, so we're gonna do groups of 5 people.
Right.
Okay, so 3 of you are gonna be lucky. We are gonna have me and another team, Sridhar, and another team, Irina, and we're gonna try to help you guys. The idea is how it's gonna work. Then you're gonna go for the level at the very bottom, and you're gonna try to see if you can write some techniques for this guy that is very afraid of losing prestige power, or this person thinks he's sleeping very bad at home because he think or she thinks that he's gonna be fired next week. Okay, what you do? This person is not gonna be fired. What you do? And then we're gonna be moving forward, and we're gonna try to come up with 2 to 3 techniques.
We write techniques to convince him.
Yes, yes. You say, oh, I think I could recommend that, and you agree with your team, and then you note it down. Okay, and then you come up with a second 2 techniques for each level, and then we start going up until we reach the very top. It's gonna take us around 15 minutes, 1-5. I'm gonna say like 15 minutes. They are discussing different techniques. The more technique you come, if you reach the top of the pyramid, then go down. If you still have some minutes, come up with any other technique. Okay, so it's time to go, Manuele. Split us in.
Yeah, I create 6 breakout room, which is about 4 or 5 participants per room.
Okay, perfect. And we're gonna be there for 15 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
remember to capture the screen, just to make sure that everyone has the screen with the pyramid. So then Sridhar and Irina, you can facilitate this part.
Okay.
To be honest, we needed 1 or 2 more minutes, but yeah, let's see how it goes.
There is always the same thing, right? People need always time.
Yeah. Sridhar, you want to go first with your group?
You go first. You start.
I go first. Okay, so I have Anna and Raj, and where's and Nicola. So guys, you can come up with your ideas, which techniques you would like to use with all these guys who are on different levels on the pyramid. So just speak up and share with everyone else.
Okay, I'll go since I write something down. For the lower step of the pyramid, we came up with the idea to try to listen to understand the person, and try to make a one-on-one meeting, maybe an informal one, to make the person more comfortable, and then try to speak up about hopes and fear of about the change the company is making, and also try to make some example of positive identification with the change. So how the change we are trying to making is could be helpful to the person and not something to fear. Try to help the person see the opportunities within the change. I don't know if someone in my group want to add something up.
That sums it up quite well.
You want to go to next level?
Okay. For the next level, we had the option of adapt or perish. For the person who don't like the change proposal. And also we talk about how to get the person involved into spot the habits and the attitude which are resistant to the change, and try to break them, making that a kind of fun game to let the people in the process, get them involved in the process, and make them feel more involved, and listen about their feedback and the change itself. And then we end the time. So
Can you see the pyramid there? Good.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so Sridhar, Arena, what else do you want to share? How was the dynamic with people? What else we can share that is going to provide some value?
Yeah, in fact, from my team, guys, Alexandra, are you clear about all the 4 different levels to start with?
I'm here, yes.
Yes.
I think that we have actually thinking what kind of questions do we need to come up with this different kind of people in order to have, in order to change them.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
from the bottom up, maybe we have some different questions.
Correct.
For the lower ones, we have, for example, what is working now and what kind of improvements do you need, or maybe you can see in order to go further.
Correct.
In the second level, maybe what do you like to what do you see and like to be in order to have the change, or maybe do you have some new idea when you can jump in with some new idea.
Correct.
The third one maybe is with the questions, what do you need to step up in the change? What do
Absolutely.
you how do you need to how do you I don't know, need to jump up in some new ideas?
Correct.
And
Correct.
the last one, for example, how can we as a team contribute? What
Absolutely.
can we do to get out and to step out to get the mission and the vision of the company?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as Niranjan also brought out just before we got out of the room, what's in it for them? As a team, what are we going to get? So that there is an aspirational value attached to become part of the change journey. So that is, this is what we discussed, Eric. And we also spent some time on ask what kind of questions that we need to ask to elicit the information, because some discussion happened in terms of we telling them what is in it for them, but then we realized that as coaches we may want to get the information from them rather than spoon feeding them. And we talked about asking open-ended questions using 5 Ws and 1 H: who, what, why, when, where, and how. That's how we summarized the discussion.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Irina. Thank you, Sridhar. I will need you soon for the next dynamic. I think it's important to understand that in companies where organizational health is poor, then people tend to be at the bottom of the pyramid, even if they are the happiest people on earth. And that's something to consider. And this is also important because whenever you are in a company where organizational health is poor, then unless you solve that problem first, you're not going to be able to solve the other problems. Even if you bring people with, you give people more information and you try to make sure that they work better with tools, unless you solve the foundation first of the pyramid, nothing is going to work quite well. And this is what we see in many companies. Okay, so we have the next topic that we're going to go a little bit deeper in enterprise agility. What I propose is go for water, 3 minutes, extend your legs, and we are back in 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Let's put 4 minutes. Us 11 now, let's do 15. And then you guys extend, get some oxygen, and we come back and we go with the second part where we're going to talk about more about enterprise agility. Okay? We good with that, Manuele?
Yeah, great.
Okay, see you guys.
For...
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay, so it's time to go. Let's go for it. We have a very interesting topic to talk about now, a little bit different than the previous one, but I hope you also enjoy, guys. So let me just go for it. So I hope you were enjoying I know you would love to talk of the pyramid for hours, but maybe you had so many questions, so many things you want to know. Then remember, you can always talk to Sridhar or Irina if they are close to your time zone, and they're going to be happy to help you guys. So let's go for more. The pyramid, obviously, this is just one part. We have seen there are so many things you can do with this pyramid. And now we're going to talk about enterprise agility a little bit deeper. I know many of you are trying to adapt quite quickly to the situation of the company. There are so many things going on. The landscape is changing. And then the first thing that we need to understand is what enterprise agility is. From my perspective, as I mentioned at the beginning of the course, it's not the same as agility. Agility is fine. I have nothing against agility. But there are so many things that we need to know in order to expand or to make sure that people become a little bit more flexible in the company. And many of these fields are not considered into agile. Agile is something that it was very good, it was very well, it helped people, but even they have very wide concepts and values that for me are essential and crucial. But when we're talking about enterprise agility, we need to know about different fields. We need to know about neuroscience of change, how the brain works during change, organizational psychology, different theories of organization. We need to know so many things, and also software, obviously, and framework, that at the end, we need to have a clear definition of what it is. And then one of the things that I talk in my book is business agility or enterprise agility is the same. I always say it's the same. You can take it in the way you want, but it's the same idea. Enterprise agility or business agility. And basically, it's basically a way that enables companies to adapt to market conditions. And the idea is that you're going to provide something competitive. Now, the key here in the definition is which says after, without negatively impacting or affecting organizational health. And this is crucial. And why organizational health is crucial in new companies. Companies need to adapt constantly. The markets are changing. So if you don't have good levels of organizational health, if your organization is very dysfunctional, then what's going to happen is as soon as the market accelerates and you have a huge number of these market disruptions, and then your company needs to adapt with all these functionalities, your company is not going to be able to. And this is very simple. This is like, for example, imagine you want to go for a holiday with your couple, and then you have a discussion and it's very dysfunctional. You're not going to have a good time. So company, when they start this journey into change, if they go into this journey, into these holidays, eternal holidays of journey, and then they don't have right structures and they don't have the team do not work well and the company is healthy, then they struggle to adapt. And the first thing for any company which want to adapt constantly and continuously and eternally is to have high levels of organizational health. So whatever decision, whatever you do in the organization, any decision, any option you want to take, anything has to at least maintain or increase organizational health. And why is that important to have a definition? Because when you start having definition, you start at least getting some alignment. You cannot get alignment from nothing. Sometimes you need to start with this. Then maybe you change the name. You, instead of talking about organizational health, you call it in a different way, but the concepts are the same. And some people can say, okay, what is organizational health? So this is my definition. There are so many definitions. Company can have their own. I just try to use one, which is the one I came up in my book, which is psychological safety. That is how people feel in the company, how psychologically safe they feel, plus the creation of sustainable business value in perpetuity. And this is crucial here because we added the word perpetuity means that whatever I do in the company has to be sustainable and forever. Forever we're going to be doing that. So if we want to make sure that people, for example, are able to constantly develop innovation, create innovation, or improve products, that has to be sustainable forever. Now, how we do that? We cannot do it if the organizational health is low, and this is crucial to understand. So we need to make sure that whatever we do, people feel well about the change, people are able to adapt, even if imagine the organization is changing the direction, the strategy, the techniques, the framework. People have to feel comfortable with that, and that's not something easy. There are so many fields that study this, and we need to make sure first, at least, we start with some definition. Okay, and that's basically what we have here. So after we understand what business agility, what enterprise agility is, and then we understand that in order to constantly adapt, your health has to be good. This is like an athlete. If the athlete has to be running, for example, when the athlete needs to do a decathlon, for example, or triathlon, if you want to run in these three fields, you need good health. Otherwise, you're going to struggle. And the companies are the same. Okay. So I wanted to start today with the cake. And this cake is also different since the very first edition of the Lean Exponential Change, and it represents enterprise agility. And you can say, okay, how is that possible? Well, it's a metaphor, and the metaphor has something very beautiful, that is that people remember them, and also it helps the brain connect in a different way. But this is another topic. We'll maybe talk about this another day. So this cake represents 5 different types of agility that you need in your company, in your organization, and this is part of a broader model we have in Enterprise Agility University that has another thing, but then part of the core are these 5 different types of agility. And then the first type of agility, some people call it agile, we call it technical agility. And technical agility we have here, and it's a very short definition. Maybe I could have come with something else, but this is a short definition. Is the possibility for you to change the software in a way that's going to be sustainable and in a way that's going to be safe, that is, you're not going to increase technical debt, that you're going to be able to quickly adapt it, and then people are not going to suffer a lot. So it has to be safe the way you do it, has to be quickly, and it has to be cheap. When I say cheaply here, I mean low cost. I'm not talking about that something bad quality, okay? So this is very important. And this is the chocolate. Everyone likes chocolate. Well, at least me, I like chocolate like a lot, but then companies should not like chocolate that much, and I will explain to you why. And this is at the very top of the cake. Now, after that, we have what we call structural agility. And structural agility is the capacity for your company to be able to adapt the procedures, the roles in the company. If the market change, even if you change the technology, if you do not change the processes, if you do not change the roles, then nothing is going to work. But in here, you have to be careful, because if you want to change the procedure, you need to check where the person in the pyramid is. Maybe you are not listening to the people. Maybe you need to make sure that you integrate people from the departments in order to change these procedures. And this is something important, because in here we also add in the definition, we talk about running experiment. Experiment, I mean that not experiment like you do an experiment, it's like something short. And then what we say here, while minimizing the impact on organizational health. And you can see organizational health is everywhere in the exponential company, in the company that needs to adapt all the time. And this is crucial. So procedures, roles, everything has to be adapted, and in somehow it has to be well done in a way that people still feel comfortable. They can take it as an opportunity to learn. Now, the next one is outcomes agility. That outcomes agility refers to strategy and leadership and budgeting and contracting, everything. You are producing something, you are walking in one direction, and suddenly you need to change and go in another direction. So it's about changing strategy, okay? So maybe if you are producing something and then you produce something else because the first something does not work anywhere else, then you need to change your strategy and produce something else and change your machinery and your software and maybe some people. This change of strategy also have to be safe and also have to increase or maintain organizational health. But the idea is that you're going to change the direction, but you're going to keep getting good results in the company, result. And that's why the definition is delivering results even during turbulent times to respond to changing market conditions. And this is crucial. Even if you have great software and then you have great structures, if you are not able to realign your company, realign your strategy when things change, then nothing's going to work. And this is what we see many companies, that maybe they are trying to be agile, but then their strategy takes years to change, right? And that's why outcomes agility is crucial. Then we have social agility, which is how people connect in the organization. Try to imagine the organization as, instead of people like nodes, where these nodes information are flowing. And then what we have there is the more people connect and the better people connect, and they connect better in terms of information flowing, but also the social environment, what people see in the environment, even the environment can be virtual, and how people connect, then it's going to increase the possibility for your company to produce more innovation. Because if people connect better, information is going to flow better, and then the possibility for you to detect early problems, to make sure that things are working well, to get this information early, is going to be, the possibility is going to be higher. Okay, so social agility. And then finally, we have something that many of the models, or at least I believe that we have been the only people with this model for several years, with mental agility at the bottom. Mental agility is the possibility for a person to reframe problems, to see problems from a different perspective and different values. Why this is very important? Because this level at the very bottom again is connected with the neurobiology. If a person needs to adapt to a new situation and this person is not mentally flexible, then none of the other types of agility is going to work. So that's why for Enterprise Agility University, the mental agility is the foundations of all the other ones. And we also have techniques where people are able to increase these levels of mental agility to adapt. Because if people are not able to adapt to a new situation, then resistance goes higher, people feel unsafe, and then start going deep into the pyramid. Okay, and we have a specific technique, such as reframing or other techniques, to make sure that people feel comfortable about seeing situations from different perspectives. And this is crucial when there is a market disruption. Now, the companies generally keep the cake on the oven for longer to get the chocolate very soft at the top, and they focus on the top, on the technical agility, and as a result of that, they burned the bottom. Companies that are very focused on technical agility and structural agility, then what's happening here is people become less flexible. In fact, there are some research, recent research, that says that the levels of brain activation, people that are working in a lane, in a company where they produce something manual and repetitive, in the brain is the same activation as some person who is in a hospital in comatose state, in coma. Okay, so if you focus too much on the first two levels, you are not gonna increase the other levels at the bottom, and this is crucial for us. Now, when we are talking about plans, and let me check the time to see we're doing well. Yes. So when we are talking about a plan, guys, all of you try to do a change in the company. The problem is that we do the change with what we know. If we don't know something, we don't use it. And basically, this cake, what I try to tell you first is, if you want to change something in a company, dynamics are complex. First, it's not just about, even if you want to change a piece of software. Okay, so I remember some years ago, a company changed one software, but then they didn't have into account the right processes, or even the how people connected, or eventually it was not very connected, where it didn't connect very well with the strategy, and that created a chaos in the organization which took years to solve. So when we're talking about taking this career of change consultant in a serious way, we basically need other tools. And when we start creating plans, we try to help companies, to influence companies to move in certain direction. Then we use different techniques, and then that means that we use something called powerful strategy. That's something I created some time ago, many years ago, and it's also part of the Exponential Change. It says that if you are going to create a change plan, cut the cake always vertically. Even if you need to change something, some software, something in the technical agility, you need to consider, at least your plan should consider, okay, how these the processes are. Do we have the right processes? What's the minimum I can change? I don't want a huge change plan. I need something very small. So how we are going to adapt, for example, with outcomes agility, how we're going to adapt the budgeting, how I'm going to adapt the contractors, the contracting, everything that needs in order to adapt this, to adapt the company and to make sure the strategy move quite quickly in a different direction. Then the next one with this social agility, okay, I changed this piece of software, but then are people connected? Are connected in the way I want? They are discussing idea, they have good quality of conversations, or maybe they are in one building and the other one in another, in case it's physical, and they talk once a week. And then mental agility means, do they have the capacity to see the problems from other perspectives, from different values, etc. And this is crucial. So what we say is every time we create a very tiny plan, even if something is small, we need at least to touch a little bit the other levels to put at least something which is going to influence the other levels. Okay? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to introduce some problem, and then Irina and Sridhar are going to tell you what to do with this. Okay? So the idea now is that let me see. We're going to have a mural, because mural is back finally. And we're going to have a mural which is going to look something like this. We have technical agility, structural agility, outcomes agility, and social agility. We are not going to talk about mental agility now, as I think we're not ready. Maybe we need to do a course about that before talking about this. So I'm not going to ask you to think of techniques to increase mental agility. But the other ones, I think you can dominate them. For example, technical agility, structural agility, outcomes agility, and social agility. And then I'm going to put a problem, which is this. Imagine you are a change consultant, and then you go to an organization and they tell you, okay, listen, Peter, you are Peter, no, okay? Peter is always there. So, Peter, listen, I need your help. We are having this problem here. The employees in the company are working many hours, and as they are working remotely, they start feeling tired. Help me, please, to solve it. And you're the consultant, you are the actual coach or the consultant, HR, or someone in the company. And then what I want you guys is that you're going to work in teams of 5 people, and I want you to solve this problem by having a little technique at this level. Maybe we need some software, maybe we need some processes, maybe we need some budgeting or do something in the outcomes agility, maybe we need people to connect in a different way. And what I wanted is for you to create a powerful change plan that's basically is going to include a little bit of the whole plan is going to include a little bit of all these levels. Okay? So Sridhar, Irina, can you help me explain it a little bit better with your ideas?
Irina, you want to take a shot?
Maybe you go first and I'll follow you.
Okay, sure. All right. So guys, we have this problem. Employees work many more hours since they are remote and begin to feel tired. Now, in this scenario, how the solution cannot be a one-dimensional solution. It is not just about giving them better tools or tech, or like maybe Mural or MS Teams or in Zoom, any of this. That's fine from a technical agility point of view. But what else can you do now that we know that there are different levels of or different types of agility? How can we address this problem holistically? That is the challenge. So idea is to think from each of these domains perspective and see what initiatives or actions we want to bring in. Okay. All right. Yeah. Anything you want to add? Yeah. Go ahead, Eshan.
Shouldn't we investigate first what is the reason behind this more hours? Is it just because they are remote, so they still working, or there is a workload, or what is it?
That's
But
true.
maybe you can also consider that in case if you want to put some process to make sure that there are no bad habits, there are good habits, you can also consider them. So we don't know if they are working more hours before or what happened. We just know that, but we need to make sure at least we suggest something that might work with the information we got, something very minimal with all these levels. Irina, what do you want to add?
Okay, so I think already Sridhar explained more or less, and you as well. For this situation, it's important to understand, because this is kind of new situation for employees in the company. And the first thing you might think of is that most likely it will affect organizational health. And this is important to correlate and to understand how to improve this and what to use for every different types of agility, for example. Also, as we mentioned before, the organizational health is it's important part of the overall business agility. So it will affect business value as well. So this initial, let's say, change in the company, which is happening, is going to affect a lot of other, let's say, it's going to have domino effect on everything else. So what from social or outcomes on structural or technical agility you might be able to use to improve the situation. And bottom line, let's say, use the cake that we shown before.
And I will share with you now, guys, the mural. If you can, everyone can open it. And then what you're going to see is, well, let's open. You open and you see. Surprise. If mural want to work today, because we don't know if we want to work. Otherwise, we come back to pen and paper.
And we go to breakout rooms again?
Yes, so we're going to go to the breakout rooms. Then you can choose a space. And you're going to basically create one solution to propose to this problem or this situation that they told you to solve. The idea is that all the team is going to focus on this problem. I'm going to come up with a micro solution that's going to try to improve the situation, and it has to include at least social outcomes, structural and technical agility. And you're going to have 15 minutes for that. Any question, guys?
Does Punit, you have raised your hand. You have a question?
Thanks for that. No questions.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking that it is an open discussion, but now I understood we have to put it in.
Okay. Okay, great.
Who am I?
Yeah, please come over, join the mural. We are also there. We'll work on that.
Okay. Opening the room stand, 15 minutes.
Yes. Thank you very much, guys. So, guys, I hope you learned something new today. As you can see, the organizational change world is a full world of new ideas, theories, things that connect with things that you already know, other things that are new. So, Sridhar, Irina, what do you want to share, guys?
Oh, yeah. We had a fantastic discussion, apart from the mural exercise, about the building the social agility of the teams in the work from home scenario. And yeah, that was a good thing. Another interesting thing what we have also seen is that typically while the teams have been facilitated with the technical agility or the various tools and technologies to help them work together, not much attention has been paid for the other areas of agility. that came out pretty clearly. Some amount of effort happened in terms of social agility, but not really effective. That's where we were actually spending more time discussing why, though there is a social need, inherent need for people to connect with each other, why when organizations mandated it, it didn't work. So that was a interesting offshoot of the discussion. But yes. Anything
Irina,
else?
what about you?
Yeah.
We had a really cool discussion and working session, and I would leave to Manuela to give his feedback if he wants, because he was really the most active one in the group, and we added a lot of new stuff. I don't know if we have just a little time to take a look at what we did.
Yeah, it was a very I really liked the exercise and kind of thinking the agility in these different layers. So yeah, it took me a little bit to get into it for the first 2 layers, but then after that, I started to kind of get my brain around it. So yeah, we put everything under the Room 3 column. So for the social ability, kind of the agility, kind of supporting each other, be kinder, offering help. For the outcomes agility, allow the team to kind of regulate their agreement around working hours in order to cope with the pressure and managing their needs, working from home and their family needs. And then for the structural agility, reviewing priorities, reviewing the meeting policies, maybe, and also using good tools for online collaboration, because it can make the meetings more effective, more fun, and less stressful. And the last one, technical agility, was about automating all the unnecessarily time-consuming and maybe stressful tasks, using checklists. Maybe have a questionnaire on Peakon with a custom question. Peakon is a tool for engagement. Have a custom question around how's the pressure and the fatigue, and defining some policies for communication tools like Slack, to make sure that people don't feel that it's expected of them to reply to messages at any hour, even after working hour, and stuff like that. Very quickly, I try to summarize what we discussed.
Thank you very much, Manuel. I hope you guys enjoy it. Yes, and then Sridhar and Irina is going to be also available if you want. Add them into LinkedIn if you don't have them, as they're going to be soon trainers of the Enterprise Agility University. They're going to be able to help with whatever you need. And imagine if you were able to reframe a situation in 20 minutes, what you can do with these frameworks in a few weeks in an organization. So, as I always say, change is what you do and what you also understand and what you can see. And sometimes to see the things, you need to learn about new frameworks and new perspectives. So thank you very much, guys, for coming today. Thank you, Manuel, for the invitation. Sridhar and Irina, thank you very much for helping today. That was very, very, very useful. And anything else you wanted to know? Otherwise, we invite you. Remember the Agile Diversity Index, please. If you can share it on your networks, that's going to help. And if you need anything else, we are here to help you. We can always visit our university. And that's it for me on my side. Manuel, all yours.
I just want to say thanks everyone for joining. Thanks Eric, Arina, and Sridhar for running this amazing session. And just a reminder that on the 13th of May we have a new exciting meetup, how to create a career ladder for vertical and lateral movement, by Joanna Rothman. I'm very excited. So yeah, just take a look at the description and feel free to join. I'll put it in the chat here, but of course it's in our meetup group. Thanks everyone. Have a good day or evening or whatever you are.
In the world.
In the world, yes.
In the world.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye to everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.